Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. My name is Samuel Rose. I'm the Cabinet Secretary. And this afternoon, we are welcoming you to a media briefing to provide you information on an exciting initiative, the relaunch of the Order of the Cayman Islands. To provide you with more information on the relaunch of the Order of the Cayman Islands and to introduce our very distinguished panel, we are pleased to have with us this afternoon the Premier, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin. Premier.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Good afternoon to the distinguished panel joining me today on the podium, as well as to members of the media and the listening public. Granting honors is a lasting and tangible way for a country to pay tribute to those who exemplify the greatest qualities of citizenship and whose contribution enriches the lives of their community. It is important, I thought, to note that of the 195 countries in the world, only about 5 do not possess an honor system. At least 2 other British overseas territories, Turks and Caicos and Bermuda, operate their own national honor system alongside the UK honor system. Therefore, it was in keeping with this established practice that in 2010, legislation entitled the National Honors and Awards Law was introduced by the government. This original legislation created an honor scheme known as the Order of the Cayman Islands. While a number of honors under this system were awarded, regrettably, the honor system did not fully take root and no other ceremony was held. In acknowledging the importance of recognizing our own people, and after much research and consultation, including with experts in the United Kingdom, my government revisited and revived the Order of the Cayman Islands with a fresh approach. It was within this context that the National Honors and Awards Amendment Law 2018 was passed in the Legislative Assembly. Today, it gives me great pleasure to announce that nominations for the Order of the Cayman Islands will be open as of tomorrow, and to formally introduce and welcome the newly appointed Council for the Order of the Cayman Islands, which is established under the National Honors and Awards Law 2018 and is responsible for considering nominations for the various levels of the Order. The Council is chaired by His Lordship, the Chief Justice, Anthony Smelly, and he is joined by former Chief Secretary, Mr. James Ryan, former member of Executive Council, Mr. Norman Borden, as well as Mr. Malcolm Eden and Mrs. Celine Krantz. The Cabinet Secretary serves as Secretary to the Council. As Premier, by virtue of this office, I will serve as Chancellor of the Order and the principal companion of the Order. However, all of the very difficult work of vetting and deliberating nominees falls squarely within the remit of the Council. Above all else, it is essential that this new system enjoys the confidence of the public. Indeed, confidence is the lifeblood by which such a system is viewed as credible and accepted within the hearts and minds of those living within our community. I am therefore deeply gratified to know that each of these distinguished and highly respected individuals seated beside me agreed to serve as members of the Council for the Order. I wish to publicly acknowledge and thank the Chief Justice and each member of the Council for accepting this very challenging yet important endeavor, and for helping to re-establish what it is hoped will become a greatly revered and highly respected system of national honors. I also wish to thank the Honourable Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, as well as the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, for their support in establishing the Council and providing the Order of the Cayman Islands. In opening this nomination period, it is hoped that names of worthy and fitting individuals will be put forward for the Council's consideration, and if all goes as planned, the first investiture ceremony under this new law will occur during the National Heroes Day ceremony in January of next year. Before we hear more details about the nomination process, I would like to offer a brief overview of some of the key changes to our newly relaunched system of honors. The first is fixed annual quotas for membership. The initial 2010 honor system was a very good first step in the establishment of a local honor system. However, given the advice that we have received from experts in the United Kingdom, we have determined that necessary improvements were needed to enhance the honor scheme. Under the amended law, we now have 3 levels of membership: companion, officer, and member. To further ensure exclusivity of membership of the order, an annual quota is also set within the amendment law. Therefore, the Council can award no more than 2 persons as companions, no more than 3 persons as officers, and no more than 5 persons as members of the order in any given year. Under the amended law, the Chancellor of the Order also has the authority to make appointments defined as special nominations to the various classes of the Order, separate and apart from the Council of the Order. However, the number of special nominations are also restricted and kept within an annual quota of 1 per level. So 1 companion, 1 officer, or 1 member per year is the maximum that the Chancellor would be able to nominate or to award. This provision was included in the order to make accommodation for unique situations, such as when an individual deemed to be worthy of an honor may be terminally ill, or in the event it is deemed impractical to wait until the official nomination period overseen by the Council occurs. The design of the original order was imaginatively contemporary. However, after talking with United Kingdom experts, it was pointed out to us that it would be better if the design of the insignia was compatible with the United Kingdom insignia worn in all British overseas territories. We also wanted to take the opportunity to improve upon the quality of the insignia to make them less susceptible to damage. We have therefore redesigned the insignia and ribbon of the order for each of the 3 levels of membership, and they are now compatible with British Overseas Territories Citizenship UK insignia. There are many advantages to continuing with our own honor system. First, it affords the government greater opportunities to give recognition to worthy citizens. Also, running in parallel with the UK honor system gives greater scope to those who are charged with ensuring that achievement and service is recognized whenever possible. Importantly, as the nomination process would be administered locally with no UK involvement, an award in the Order of the Cayman Islands would not impinge upon a person's eligibility for recognition at some later stage for an award in the UK honours system. I want to deliver a message to previous recipients of the Order of Cayman and to provide them, I hope, with some words of assurance about the continued importance and recognition of their award. Section 10A of the amendment legislation includes a provision that confirms that any awards previously issued before the amendment law came into force are to be considered valid under the new law. Therefore, the option is open to current holders at the level of commander, officer, and member, should they wish to reclassify their individual awards and receive the appropriate new class in exchange. No nomination will be required for this. You just need to make an application. However, we will only embark on this reclassification after the first investiture ceremony under the new regime. There are many precedents internationally for this course of action, not least in the United Kingdom. When the George Cross was established in 1940, recipients of the old Albert Medal and the Edward Medal were allowed to exchange their medals for the new cross. Some did, but equally many chose to retain their original medal, and we expect that many will wish to do the same here, given that their original insignia and award is a unique part of Cayman's history and will never again be offered. At this point, I believe it is most fitting for me to now invite the chairman of the council, His Lordship the Chief Justice, to speak in more detail to the nomination process and to the general work of the council.
Thank you, Premier, and good day. Greetings to members of the viewing public. Let me thank you, first of all, Premier, for sitting with us today in your role as Chancellor of the Order and Principal Companion of the Order, and for your warm welcome and endorsement of the Council. I consider it a privilege to serve as chair of this most distinguished body. Allow me also to thank my fellow members of the Council for their commitment to working together to render to the people of the islands a most credible, significant, and prestigious Order of National Honors. On behalf of the Council, and as the Honourable Premier has indicated, I wish to give the assurance that we, the members of the Council, consider it our primary purpose to ensure the transparency, objectivity, and indeed the integrity of the honours selection process. I'm pleased to confirm that the Council, after being duly appointed in accordance with the amendment law, has begun to meet in order to establish its own procedure and to familiarize ourselves with our very significant and sensitive task. It is indeed an honor to confirm that nominations are now open for the Order of the Cayman Islands from today. The application deadline is Saturday, the 27th of November of this year. Forms are available online at www.gov.ky/Order of the Cayman Islands. Nominations can either be completed online or printed and delivered to the Secretary of the Order of the Cayman Islands at this building, at the Government Administration Building, Grand Cayman, KY 1-9000, or by email to nationalhonors@gov.ky. Any member of the community or an organization is able to nominate someone they feel is deserving of a national honor. You are encouraged to fill out a nomination form, including your name and relationship to the nominee. It is essential that you provide as much detail about the individual you are nominating as possible and what makes them stand out from the ordinary. As you will see stated on the form, we are looking for people with exemplary service who have changed things with an emphasis on practical achievement, have demonstrated innovation and entrepreneurship, are examples of the best sustained and selfless voluntary service, have delivered in a way that has brought distinction to the Cayman Islands. Caymanians and permanent residents of the islands are eligible to be appointed as ordinary members. Persons other than Caymanians or permanent residents are also eligible to be appointed, but as honorary members. Citizens of the United Kingdom who live and work primarily in the United Kingdom or are resident in a foreign country are not eligible to be admitted to the order. For the avoidance of doubt, it would be essential when nominating an individual who is neither a Caymanian nor a permanent resident to establish the benefit of their work or service to the Cayman Islands and or its people. In general, honorary members enjoy the same privileges and receive the same insignia as ordinary members. The difference is simply a categorization to be held on record. While there is no age restriction, as most honor systems do not have a specific age for eligibility, under normal circumstances, it would be unusual to consider anyone under the age of 21. However, we recognize that there could be exceptional circumstances, and we have learned that in the UK, there have been recipients aged as young as 18. As we have mentioned, it is important that the relaunched honors system enjoys the confidence of the public. This can be achieved through diligent and probing work. Given that under the amendment law, the Council is tasked with vetting and deliberating the nominations that will be received, an essential part of the process will involve the undertaking of probity and proprietary checks. Therefore, providing as much background information as possible on your nominee is encouraged. Of course, in keeping with its duty to ensure the integrity of the national honors, the Council reserves the right to seek additional information, including probity and proprietary checks on nominees. The amendment law also recognizes and grants the latitude to a personal recipient to refuse to accept an honor or award without having to give grounds, although one would think that that would be a very exceptional response. The law also allows the Chancellor, as you have heard, after consultation with the Council, to terminate the appointment of a member who is deemed to no longer be suitable to remain a member of the order. Let me tell you just a little bit about the work of the Council so far. Being a relatively new body, the Council has been working to establish its own procedure. It is our intention to remain as transparent as possible with the work that we do. Therefore, it is our intention to publish our policies and procedures manual and other key documentation. However, due to the highly sensitive nature of the biographical details to be considered once nominations are received, it would not be appropriate for the Council to openly share personal details of nominees. The selection process must remain inviolable, and it follows that a certain degree of confidentiality must attend the process. Accordingly, the names and reasons for the selection of nominees will only be revealed at the time of the Chancellor's announcement. On behalf of the Council, I wish to state that we consider it an honor to be called upon to serve the Cayman Islands in this manner. While we certainly have our work cut out for us, we all believe in the significance and importance of honoring our own people. I consider it a privilege to work with such a highly engaged and deeply knowledgeable Council. Finally, on behalf of the Council, I wish to thank the staff of the Cabinet Office and the Government Information Services for the work you have been doing in support of the Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chancellor and Mr. Chair. At this time, we will now take some questions from the media. So Andrew Harris from the Cayman campus.
Hi. Good afternoon, members of the panel. Will members who are members of the community who's deceased but would have otherwise met the criteria be eligible for this order?
So, not on the current legislation, there is no provision for posthumous awards.
Mr. Lewis?
Ralph Lewis, Caymanian Times, and thank you for inviting me to this event. Just two questions for the Honorable Chief Justice. How often will the council meet?
As often as we need to. So far, we have met twice. In addition, of course, to preliminary meetings I have had with members of cabinet staff. We will meet, of course, to consider nominations, which we expect, as you have heard, to be submitted by the 27th of November. And for as often as we are required to meet after that for the selection process.
And the second question.
I think I should also anticipate that we will resume the process at least once every year.
And the final question is, in light of previous nomination, do you anticipate a significant amount coming forward between the next couple of weeks for this new development?
I think we do. There certainly must be significant numbers of our community who are worthy of consideration. And so we do indeed expect and encourage nominations.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rose, thank you.
You're very welcome. I invite Ms. April Cummings now from Radio Cayman.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My question is pretty simple. It's just, could you speak a little bit to the importance of having a program like this in the first place? I know that, Premier, you did touch on some of this, but why is it as important for us as a country and as a people to do this?
It's a matter of national pride and identity, isn't it? How more significantly can we recognize ourselves, our history, our culture, what we stand for as a nation, than to recognize those among us who exemplify the standards that we hope to recognize and honor for posterity. It's such an important matter.
So if I can just add to that, the UK system of honours has, certainly with respect to its territories, has become more and more restrictive. I cannot recall the last time a CBE was awarded in Cayman. We've had one knighthood, and even the MBE is very sparingly granted. So we have, I believe, in my experience, a lot of very deserving persons in this community whose contributions ought to be properly recognized. And the only scope we currently have is the Certificate and Badge of Honor. So this will fit in, I think, very well with the with what is available now, and will allow us locally to, as I say, to recognize people who've made a major contribution here without having to be so reliant on the UK system of awards. We've done a lot of work over the past years. We've even engaged a consultant advisor in the UK to see what can be done so that the Cayman Islands can receive, we believe, its due and fitting share of the UK awards. But thus far, we haven't been particularly successful. Some territories seem to be preferred over others. I won't go into names, but there are two territories in particular that if you look at the sheer number of awards they've gotten, the size of their populations, it leaves you scratching your head as to how these things are judged. But we're going to try to control the things that we are in control of. And this is one of those mechanisms.
How important is it in terms of inspiring the next generations? Does doing this help cement the stories of the people who have laid the foundation for them?
I want to think so. I believe so. I think a lot of the work that we are doing, you see these pieces. I think when you view it with the benefit of distance from the moment, you will look back at the last, I'd say, 15, 20 years of Cayman and say that was a period of significant nation building and the development of a national identity. And this, I think, is one important feature of that overall enterprise.
Thank you.
And I should add that folks will see from the nomination form that there's no defined category of endeavor that would be excluded. We have listed an extensive number of fields of endeavor, but that the category is not closed. And the objective, I think, is that we recognize the best endeavors in these fields.
Just a bit of clarity. The primary, you said that the awards open tomorrow, but Chairman, Lord Chief Justice, you said the process actually begun today. Which of the?
We're both right.
It's a matter of the nomination being available.
Yes.
I see.
The forms.
Forms will be
Yeah.
available tomorrow.
Forms
The
available
forms
tomorrow.
should be up on the website tomorrow.
I see. And 2018 revision. Could you say why we are just beginning the process now, or what took us from 2018 that required us to only now be able to announce it today?
We've taken a lot of time and given a lot of thought and spoken to experts about the design or the redesign of this system. And we were determined to make sure that, as I've tried to underline in what I said, and the Chief Justice has also pointed to, is the system has to be credible, so that people believe that those who receive the awards are worthy of them, that there is a minimization of political influence in the decision making, so that it's not just because you supported Alden or his team, but because you have made a contribution worthy of recognition. And so it has taken a while for us to work through all of those things, and I certainly was determined that we would get on board, and I was delighted when the Chief Justice agreed, because not only do I respect him immensely as Chief Justice, but I've known him for so long that I'd embarrass both of us if I said how long, in terms of our age. But I think that's the kind of credibility, the people that you see at this panel, on this panel, that people will look at the council, the makeup of the council, and say, yep, that's a group of people that I know are not motivated by political influences, but who are objective and can be objective and fair in determining who should be the recipients of this. So working through all of those things has taken longer. I can be quite impatient, as the chief cabinet secretary knows well, but he and others that work with me know that I also want things to be right. And so it's taken us that long. I had hoped that we would have been able to do this last year. So, but delayed gratification often gives you the better result.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions from members of the media? Before we close off, I would just like to give an opportunity to any other members of the panel, should they wish to provide any comment or share any views.
Well, I would
Mr.
just
Norman?
like to say that I consider it a privilege and an honor to have been appointed to serve on the council, and also to serve as such distinguished council members. I think our chairman emphasized confidentiality and transparency, and I feel that I'm working with a group of people on this council that will uphold the standards that are expected of us. And certainly look to the future meetings and trust that we will receive a very good response from the public on this initiative by our government, and can assure the general public that we take the work that we're tasked with very seriously, and we intend to abide strictly by the terms and regulations set out in the law, which was amended in 2018. And again, I am pleased to be serving with the Chief Justice as our chairman and the other members for whom I have great respect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Norman. Mr. Ryan?
I consider it a real honor and a privilege to serve on this council. As Mr. Norman has said, and the Premier pointed out earlier, there's a distinguished group of people, and I am most pleased to serve on the council. I look forward to nominations coming in, and I look forward to a lot of hard work over the next few weeks as we determine and make a decision on honors for this people of this country. Thank you.
Mr. Eden?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I would just like to say as well that it is an honor indeed to serve on the council, and I'm looking forward to a very robust nomination process. I'm confident that there are lots of individuals in the community that are deserving of this award, and us as the panel look forward to the nominations. And just to add that there is quite a bit going on behind the scenes. Not only have we met on a few occasions, but there have been countless emails going back and forth amongst the members of the council. So, just to give everyone the assurance that, the integrity of the council will be upheld by those of us on the committee here today. Thank you.
Mrs. Krantz?
I too would like to add that it's been a pleasure so far working with these distinguished gentlemen. I'm the only lady, as you can see, on the panel, but it's been a great learning process for me as well. And I'm not used to being on these sorts of committees or councils, but we've been working diligently, and I look forward to what else there is to come. And I have the greatest respect for everyone that's in my colleagues on this panel. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We have relaunched our Order of the Cayman Islands. In fact, over my shoulder is the seal of the Order of the Cayman Islands. This is our own unique seal, and you will see it on the nomination form. So just to remind you of the important information, our nomination forms will be available tomorrow online. You can check the government's website, and we will also have hard copies for those who would prefer those available downstairs on the first floor of the Government Administration Building. We depend on nominations. This council has a very difficult task ahead of it. However, we can only consider names of those who have been submitted via the nomination process. So we want to encourage the public to read the criteria, to read the nomination process, and to consider the individuals in our community who are worthy of being honored as members of the Order of the Cayman Islands. We will also provide visuals to the media of the insignia to include in their stories. So again, we want to thank the members of the media for coming today. We also want to thank our distinguished panel led by the Chancellor and Principal Companion of the Order, Honorable Alden McLaughlin, as well as the Chair of the Council of the Order, the Lord Chief Justice, Honorable Anthony Smelly, as well as the members of the Council. Thank you again. Have a great day.